Dr. Emoto has conducted another interesting experiment. He placed rice into 3 glass beakers and covered it with water. And then every day for a month, he said, "Thank you" to one beaker, "You're an idiot" to the second, and the third one he completely ignored. After 1 month, the rice that had been thanked began to ferment, giving off a strong, pleasant aroma. The rice in the second beaker turned black, and the rice that was ignored began to rot. Dr. Emoto thinks that this experiment provides an important lesson, especially with regard to how we treat children. We should take care of them, give them attention, and converse with them. Indifference does the greatest harm.
Of the rice experiment, and we'll have a look at how the rice is doing. Okay, here is the rice I speak positively to every day, and there is no green mold whatsoever, just a little bit of white, but that's it. It looks all right, not too bad. Okay, now for the rice I speak to negatively. It's just awful. Whole lot of green mold. It's gotten even darker. And green mold there. So there we go. So speak to negatively every day. And the ignored rice has gotten a whole lot worse. Now there's a whole lot more. And it's got, look at the, it's like brown and orange and white. A whole lot of mold. It's gotten like really brown. Horrible color. Anyways, so that's the rice I ignore. So find it really interesting after 76 days that the positive rice is still looking so good compared to these two. I mean, wow. So anyways, I'll keep you updated and probably go on with this for a bit longer.
Hey everyone, it's Steve, and it's day 147. It's October the 2nd, 2008. It's the last day of the rice experiment. I've decided to now throw the rice out as they look very disgusting and probably will attract some sort of vermin. Anyway, I'll show you the 3 bottles of rice, and you guys can make the decision up in your own minds. As you can see, these are the 3 bottles I used. Thank you rice. Looks pretty damn good to me. As you can see, it is white. I reckon I would almost eat that. The ignored rice is the worst. As you can see, it looks like shit. It's completely brown. It's got black spots in the middle. Right there, it's really gross. The full rice, also pretty bad, as you can tell. But it's got white parts still down the bottom, but definitely was rotting at around the top areas, as you can see. So there you have it. It's the last day, and definitely been results. It does show us, as Saint Augustine, the saint, said, miracles are not contrary to nature, but only contrary to what we know about nature. And this to show us to keep our minds open about things that we might not currently understand, we might not currently believe in. Just because we don't, it doesn't mean they're not true. Peace.
Looking. This next series of photographs are the work of Japanese researcher Mr. Masaru Emoto from his book, The Message from Water. Mr. Emoto's work provides factual evidence that human vibrational energy, thoughts, words, ideas, and music affect the molecular structure of water. Please remember that water comprises over 70% of a mature human body and covers the same amount on our planet. Water is the very source of all life. This photo shows the beautifully formed geometric design of the Yushi Spring water. This next photo is from the Shimanto River, the last clean spring in Japan. Notice the extraordinary geometric forms. The fact that the molecular structure of water can be affected by our consciousness, our intent, and our sounds is extremely important. This photo is from the Mount Cook Glacier in New Zealand. Mr. Emoto has been visually decided to see how thoughts and words affected the formation of untreated distilled water crystals by typing words onto paper and then taping this paper onto glass bottles overnight. This photo shows the effects of the words, "Thank you." This next photo shows the effects of the words, "love" and "appreciation." This photo shows the effects of the words, "You make me sick, I will kill you." And here we can compare the effects of "thank you" with the "you make me sick, I will kill you." Very, very different geometric forms being incurred through the intention. Now this photo is of a very polluted and toxic water from the Fujiwara Dam. Here now is the same water from the Fujiwara Dam after a Buddhist monk had offered a prayer over it. Prayer, that sound coupled with intention, seems to have an extraordinary ability of restoring water to its natural, harmonious, geometric symmetry. And in this photo we can compare the toxic water and then the effects of praying over the water. It's really quite impressive. These photographs that we have just seen show proof that not only does sound have the ability of affecting and changing physical structure, but that with regard to the molecular structure of water, that our intent with our sound is extremely important. This may have great implications for the future of both personal and planetary harmony and healing.
Now then, we often hear these days about the power of positive thinking. Usually this focuses on what it can do for the individual. But now a Russian scientist says it can also benefit the world around us. RT's Sarah Firth looks at the science behind the claims.
Can you directly influence the world around you with just the power of your mind? Although it might sound far-fetched, a leading Russian scientist believes we can do exactly that. And using a device that photographs human energy fields, he's attempting to prove it.
We are developing idea that our consciousness is an active part of our material world. And with our consciousness, we can directly influence our world.
To bridge our understanding of the unseen world of energy, scientific experiments are carried out using a technique called bioelectric photography. The assumption is that we're constantly emitting energy. Now, bioelectric photography works to capture this energy field that's seen as a light around the body, or what some people would call your aura. Discovered in the 1930s by Russian inventor Semyon Kirlian, he realized that stimulating a subject with a short electrical impulse, you get a burst of light, of photons and electrons around the subject.
It looks like aura, but I don't like this word because it has some metaphysical meaning. I prefer the word energy field.
The device itself photographs each finger individually, with different fingers responsible for different parts of the body, and feeds the information into a computer to interpret. One supposed benefit of this technique is early diagnosis of serious illnesses like heart disease and cancer, but some who work in the mainstream medical profession remain unconvinced.
From the point of view of today's medicine,
directly influence our environment, our space. Of course, this idea is absolutely new. That's why it has a lot of criticism still. It has a very important message for all of us, because we demonstrated that positive emotions, they have very strong influence. But the same and even more strong influence has negative emotions. But in one case, energy comes up, in another case, comes down. So it means that if we are developing in ourselves ability to create love, to create positive emotions, we change space around ourselves.
The idea that our personal energy can change the structure of the world around us is viewed by many with deep skepticism. But in the sphere of bioelectrophotography, work continues to find scientific proof for the theory. Sarah.
The human fall. All people have an original mind which inclines them to pursue goodness. Yet even without our being aware of it, we are driven by evil forces to perform evil deeds which we do not want to do. In Christianity, the master of these evil forces is known as Satan. We have been utterly unable to liquidate the forces of Satan because we have not understood Satan's identity or how he came to exist. This explanation of the human fall will clarify these issues. The root of sin. No one has known the root of sin. Christians, on the basis of the Bible, have held to a vague belief that Adam and Eve's eating the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil was the root of sin. Many Christians have thought that the fruit was that of an actual tree. Many important parts of the Bible are expressed in symbols and metaphors. Then what does the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil represent? To learn this, let us first investigate the tree of life, which stood next to the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The tree of life symbolizes an ideal man who has fully realized the ideal of creation. It thus symbolizes perfected Adam. The tree of the knowledge of good and evil represents the ideal woman, perfected Eve. The identity of the serpent. In the Bible, we read that a serpent tempted Eve to commit sin. The spiritual being represented by the serpent was originally created with a good purpose, but later fell and became Satan. What kind of spiritual being in God's creation could have conversed with people, understood the will of God, and lived in heaven? What kind of being, even after its fall, could transcend time and space to dominate the human soul? Since there are no beings endowed with such characteristics other than angels, we must conclude that the serpent symbolizes an angel. The fall of the angel and the fall of human beings. From Jude 6:7 we can infer that the angel fell as a result of an illicit sexual relationship. From Genesis 3:7 we can infer that Adam and Eve sinned with their sexual parts. Hence, we can deduce that an illicit sexual relationship must have occurred between the angel and human beings. The fruit signifies the love of Eve. Eve's eating of the fruit denotes that she consummated a satanic love relationship with the angel. The root of sin. The root of sin is that the first human ancestors had an illicit sexual relationship with an angel symbolized by a serpent. As a result, they could not multiply God's good lineage, but instead multiplied Satan's evil lineage. the motivation and process of the fall. God created angels to be his retainers, servants, and ministering spirits. After God created human beings as his children, he loved them more than the archangel Lucifer, who was a servant. Lucifer, feeling as though he were receiving less love than he deserved, wanted to grasp the same central position in human society as he enjoyed in the angelic world, as the channel of God's love. Thus he seduced Eve, and Lucifer and Eve formed a common base and fell. Fallen Eve then seduced Adam, with the hope that by uniting with him she could rid herself of the dread and once again stand before God. Adam and Eve formed a common base and fell. Sin and fallen nature. Sin is a violation of heavenly law, which is committed when a person forms a common base with Satan, thus setting a condition for give-and-take action with him. Sin can be classified into 4 kinds: original sin, hereditary sin, collective sin, and individual sin. Eve inherited from the archangel all the proclivities incidental to his transgression against God, when he bound her in blood ties through their sexual relationship, and Adam in turn acquired the same inclinations. These proclivities have become the root cause of the fallen inclinations in all people. They are the primary characteristics of our fallen nature. The primary characteristics of the fallen nature can be divided broadly into 4 types. Why God did not intervene in the fall. God, being omniscient and omnipotent, must have known about the fall of the first human ancestors. Why then did God not intervene to prevent the fall? God did not intervene in order to maintain the absoluteness and perfection of the principle of creation, that God alone be the creator, and in order to make human beings the lords of creation.